Today, I have something really important to show you. 3.2 million views after 2 months. 1.4 million views after 3 weeks. 1.8 million views after 13 days. What do you think these podcasts have in common? I'll tell you what it is. Thumbnails designed from the ground up to turn curiosity into clicks and views. And if you're stuck getting low views despite having amazing guests, then it might be time to up your game when it comes to your podcast packaging. Now, I'm not going to give you generic YouTube thumbnail help, because the truth is, we're podcasters. Our content is different. So I've gone ahead and I've researched the thumbnail best practices of some of the top podcasters currently publishing on YouTube and Spotify. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to craft podcast thumbnails that are guaranteed to stop your audience in their tracks, get them to click and engage with your episodes. So let's start by first understanding, how does our audience actually engage with our content on YouTube and Spotify? And how can we master the concept of curiosity to compel our audience to click? By all accounts, when people are on YouTube and when they're on Spotify, they are looking first at this section right here, which is the thumbnail, okay? What this is designed to do is to stop people from scrolling, okay? That's it. The thumbnail's job is to get you to pay attention to it, to lock in on it, and then proceed to the next step, which the next step is judging whether or not you should click on it. Think about it. Whenever you watch a video on YouTube or you listen to a podcast, usually that thumbnail is the thing that gets you to go, I think I want to know more. Okay. So we first start off by judging a podcast, judging an episode by what's that thumbnail going to do? And then our eye is always drawn to the next thing. And the next thing is the title. Okay. So the thumbnail stops you from scrolling. You look at it, go, I want to know more. And then we look at the title, and usually we might look at the description, which gives us context. So the thumbnail and title, they work together. They're tied together. The thumbnail gives you some sort of value, some sort of, I want to know more statement. Then there's context built in the title. This is where you include your keywords, your SEO stuff. You give more weight and explain, what is that thumbnail all about? What is the value? Explained a little bit more, usually about 60 characters or less. And then from that point, you might click. And once you click, you still aren't entirely sure if this episode is what you want to watch. And that's why usually there's about 30 seconds to a minute of a hook. Okay? And what is that hook designed to do? Convince you that, hey, what you just clicked on is exactly the episode that you wanted, that was promised to you in both the thumbnail and the title. So how can us as podcasters work to make this work for us, for our episodes? Because YouTubers, what they typically will do is they'll build the thumbnail first. Now, as podcasters, we're not going to build the thumbnail first. Why? Because we haven't had the conversation with our guest. We haven't had the discussion. So we kind of have to work backwards. Before you create your next thumbnail for your episode, I want you to craft your hook and find what are the 3 or 4 words in that hook that you think do 2 things. 1, they promise value. And 2, they get curiosity. Like they really stoke that curiosity. That has to be done first in the hook of the video. And then we work backwards. So we're going to take that hook and say, okay, someone's going to click on this video. They're going to get that hook. And that's going to be the thing that encourages them to watch all the way through. Well, that hook has to have context that's built in the title and the description. So that's where you're going to put in your SEO rich keywords, things that are related to what you're promising, but it's informed by the hook. And then the hook part, what those 3 or 4 words are, that becomes your thumbnail. You see this all the time. Next time you watch Diary of a CEO, watch that hook. What is said in that hook is exactly what is referenced in the title and in the thumbnail. If your goal is I want people to watch all the way through, well, they're going to get the value you promised in the hook that's then informed in the title and informed in the thumbnail. This is the cycle of curiosity. Now that you have an understanding of how your audience engages with content on YouTube and Spotify, let's move on to how you can apply this to your own podcast. Fortunately, there are design principles and podcast-specific layouts that are purpose-built for this task. One of the things I want to talk about that's really important, that's honestly, it's a best practice to really make your podcast thumbnail shine, is design hierarchy, okay? Understanding within your thumbnail, where do you want your audience to look first, second, and third, okay? So by looking at this example, I can tell that the podcaster wants me to look first at this section right here, okay? They don't really want me to look at necessarily the guest or the host. It's this text. Why? Because it's bold, it's large, and it has high contrast. So ask yourself the question, next time you are building a thumbnail, what do I want my audience to look at first? And you're also going to find that with podcasts, especially on YouTube, there are certain layouts that kind of get repeated over and over and over again. It's because audiences on YouTube are starting to be trained on these certain layouts. First of all, I call what this is the central layout, okay? This is obviously from Diary CEO. The one we just saw is an example of the central layout, okay? Again, most important thing is the shocking font or shocking copy that's in the middle here that's designed to get us to stop what we're doing, which is scrolling. And if we look at this one, you know, from Diary CEO, your dreams aren't random. Okay, I look at that and then I go, huh, what's the title of this? Stanford neuroscientist can't remember your dreams? Your brain may be warning ... What's the ... I want to know. If my dreams aren't random and this neuroscientist from Stanford's telling me that there could be warning something, I got to click. It's the psychology of the packaging. And I guarantee you that if I were to click on this episode, the first 30 seconds would be answering this question. It's not answering the question 40 minutes into an episode. It's immediately once they clicked on it. Another layout you might see is the guest focus layout, okay? This is a great one too, especially if you bring guests on all the time and you're like, hey, I don't really necessarily want to have my face. I really want the show to be about the guest I bring on, or maybe they're a high profile guest. Guest focus layouts are awesome. And honestly, Diary of a CEO, before he started to get really big, he was using this guest focus layout because no one really knew him. They knew the guests that he was bringing on. So this one here, I always knew I could walk. The title, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. No one has really listened to me ... until now. Okay? Fantastic hook there. It starts off with just the text of, I always knew I could walk. And if you look really closely, the could walk is a different color, drawing our eye to it. Could walk. And then it's reinforced by a very curiosity, grabbing title of, no one has really listened to me until now. You might not know who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, but like this quote from the guest is enough to stoke your curiosity and then go into it. And the last one here is, I think, a really underused one, but I think it honestly is very valuable. And that's the visual story layout. Okay. So the idea behind this one is, let's say you're doing a podcast and it's not a guest focused podcast. Maybe it's a topic focused podcast. Like for me, I do a movie review podcast, so I might use this particular one here. But this one relies on an expressive face from the host reacting to something that's displayed in the image. Obviously, with this one, it's a true crime podcast. So we've got a picture of this perfect family. But what have we done to the image? Well, we've blacked out the face of one person. We've focused in on this person here who clearly is the subject of it. And then we have text here that is horrifying plot twist murder.
Now, personally, I don't even need to have this text. I'd get rid of it entirely. Why? Because the title here does the work for me. The plot twist murder no one saw coming ... Okay? That right there. I look at this, go, huh, what's going on? The plot twist murder no one saw coming ... And I click on it. And that's why this particular one has like 1.4 million views after 9 months.
All right, let's move from theory to practice. I'm going to show you how to take what we've learned and build out a thumbnail from scratch. We're going to be working on a video that I've produced for our new podcasting interview channel called From the Show. The video I'm working on is an interview with Trey Rush of the YouTube channel, The Rush Family. And while editing the video, he mentions how you have to be obsessed with everything related to content creation to be successful in this environment. And that phrase, you've got to be obsessed, stuck out to me as the perfect hook. And it's going to work perfectly for the thumbnail that we're going to design. So let's get to it.
So I'm building it out here. And what I've got here is just kind of an image from the video. Okay. I recorded this in 4K. So I pulled a 4K image from the video. And I'm inside of Canva and I use the background removal tool to kind of isolate just him. Okay. I also went into this image and used Canva's adjustment tools to tweak things like the brightness, contrast, highlights, shadows, because the goal is when you've got images of your guests, you want it to pop. You want it to have a lot of saturation, be very bright, again, with the express purpose of popping off the screen. So the first layer I put in here, besides him, is a background. And the background I picked is this darkish purple background. Okay. Why? Because again, I don't want a bright background to really pop and interfere with the text, interfere with my image of my guest. Okay. So I went with a darkish purple, very contrasty background so that things pop off of it. Okay. The next thing I added in was I like the idea of this little border. So I added in this border here. And what's neat about it is that it actually like gives me kind of this cool separation effect that happens where it grounds the thumbnail, and it also allows me to pop Trey out from the rest of it. So it gives you like a fake 3D. So this is just a rectangle that I've got a stroke around it, and I've got that around it, and it just kind of sits underneath the photo. And then we actually have the text itself. So the text itself, I went with, you got to be obsessed. That's the text. Now, we've got different colors, different shades for this, right? We've got, you got to be in bright white because it clashes and gives me contrast with the background, but obsessed is in black. So why did I do that? Well, that's because I've got a box that goes around it. Okay. Why? Because I want the eye to be drawn to the word obsessed. Why? Because when the person clicks on that, the first words in the video are, you got to be obsessed. So it's confirming that the video they clicked on is the right video for them.
Seeing low views on episodes published to YouTube can feel defeating and make you question whether or not your content is any good. But the truth is you probably have excellent content. You just need a little polish to your podcast packaging. Now, we went over a lot in this video, and I want to make sure that you have the resources to apply these lessons to your own podcast. So do me a favor and download my free podcast packaging quick start guide in the link in the description. And if you need more help launching, growing, or monetizing your podcast, do me a favor and check out this video.